Hello, my friend, and welcome to Friday Live. I'm your personal sensei to serious joy, Christopher Watecki. Thank you for joining me. This is our Friday Live show for September 1st, 2017. Namaste, my friend. And may I also say, it's Friday. It's funny Friday. And I got to say, I think I've been saying this actually every week that I'm so grateful it's Friday. But I have to say, we have been through so much change, mostly inward, and I'll talk a little bit about that. And this Friday, this weekend, I'm hoping that we're going to go through the shift. So first of all, welcome to everyone. Thank you for being a part of our community. Thank you for all the support I've seen you giving one another in our Namaste Today Club and also my personal Sensei service in our comment section. I'm really proud of how not only are people healing, but even people in grief or going through issues are still reaching out and helping one another, okay? So I want to be grateful that we're all beginning to build a new age already, and I'm so proud of what I've seen. Just want to say that. So thank you. Thank you for coming. We have a fun Friday live show today. We're going to be talking about health since the sun is in Virgo, and we're going to be looking at different approaches to health. I have three guests. One of them actually, well, we'll go through the guests actually in a minute, but one does applied behavior analysis, one is a master personal trainer, and one is studying archangels and the healing properties of archangels. So we're going to go reality all the way up to heaven. And that's actually probably a good place to start today. Before I do our shout outs, I want to talk about our zodiac weather and what's on our agenda, what's in the skies. Because a lot of people I know show up because I'm an astrologer, but I'm really a life coach that uses astrology as a teaching tool, just so you know, because I find astrology to be so accurate. We're in some profound times. I want to bring you up to speed. We had two solar eclipses in August that kicked the shift out of me, man. Really knocked the spiritual wind out of me. And I'm a sensitive creature, so I imagine I get blown over more than most. But if it was hard for you, you weren't alone. I think the universe is jarring us to make some major changes in our life is what it was. So today's September 1st. We're now out of this August season. A solar eclipse in Leo was pushing us to find our heart's truths, and a lunar eclipse in Aquarius was pulling us to quit being attached to the wrong things. So literally the universe is like forcing a yoga pose kind of on our consciousness. And I myself had a pretty quiet solar eclipse, but then just after the solar eclipse, there's just all this energy and emotion hit me. And for me, this happens to deal with my heart chakra because that's the part of the year I'm at. So I'm a Leo with I'm a Leo rising with the Leo moon, Mercury retrograde, excuse me. And so I'm very much of the heart, as you well know. So I really thought this solar eclipse was going to be jolly like Christmas. And all it kind of did was show me where Christmas is and how far away from Christmas I am. And so it was very hard. And a lot of sorrow has come up, actually. And I think this is part of my Black Lilith return. And I share all of it with you just so you don't feel alone out there if you're going through these trials and tribulations. Where the universe is, I believe, bringing us is to a new reality. And that's what Virgo is about. Virgo is our reality. It's step 11. It's how things end up turning into the flesh. So Virgo has to do with healing. It has to do with the body. It has to do with our material reality. And I believe that reality is formed from heaven to below. I think as above is below, everything manifests from the other side, heaven. Specifically, everything manifests from our heart. And since Pisces, which was late February, early March, God Universe was saying, okay, it's time to change our spiritual story. Time to change the story now. You were this, you were the victim, or you were the hero, or you were the quiet one, or you were, we played this spiritual role for some time. And then we went into Aries, and that meant we need a new ego to fit this new spirit. Then we went to Taurus, and it was like, okay, now you need new self-esteem to fit with this spiritual. And then Gemini, okay, now you need to think differently to fit with this new spiritual vision. And then, of course, we go into Cancer. And that was high tides because the universe was saying, okay, now it's time to feel differently since we're moving to this new spiritual mission. And finally, we get to Leo. And the universe basically says, okay, here's your heart. This is where you've been, and this is where the mission is. It's higher than your heart has been. It's higher love than you have experienced. That's where the mission is. And so this huge intensity, and then Mercury goes retrograde, which means God's like, now go think about that for 3 weeks. So bringing you up to date, it brings us to this weekend. This weekend is kind of the climactic weekend of the entire year so far that I just summarized. And it has to do really with, it's a very quiet weekend in the sense of astrological turmoil. But what's happening is the Sun and Neptune are directly opposing each other. Now, Neptune literally represents God on Earth. Neptune is what channels spiritual energy to the solar system. It holds the spiritual frequency open. And so in this next 3-4 days, in fact, it happens on Monday. On Monday, the Sun opposes Neptune, which means each human being on Earth comes to this place where you have to choose which one you believe more. Do you believe what Spirit, Neptune, is telling you, the beginning of where we started this in early February? Or do you believe this reality around you that you have come to call real? And that is really the face-off right there. Because if you go with your spirit, if you go with your faith, I believe your reality will shift according to that faith. That's my belief. Of course, you need to have faith to see if it actually happens and comes true. And to some degree, I think many people will have a rite of passage about their faith right now. And this has a lot to do with the story you're born to live. Many of us have come here on the planet to help awaken the species. And I don't think we realize that to awaken the species, we had to awaken ourselves. Just because you know what awake is doesn't mean you are being awake. And that's what the last Conversations with God book has been teaching me or slapping me in the face with, right? So we've come to this point where Saturn has gone direct for the last week now, which means our fate is moving forward. The story we were born to live is moving forward. And in particular, in this Mercury retrograde, as the Sun opposes Neptune, God Universe asks, will you have faith and live with what you have faith? Will you have faith in that intangible knowing inside of you? Will you have faith in that peace inside of you, what that peaceful side tells you? Or will you take more stock in reality and the way the world says it is, and the world has said it has been, and the way, all the experts say, which is it going to be? Now, I don't think God cares which we choose, but I do think we create a heaven or hell at that point. Okay, because at that point you're deciding whether or not you're one with Spirit and aligned with Spirit and therefore going to be okay, or you don't feel aligned with Spirit and you now feel like you're part of a craps game or a part of a game of math and statistics. So this weekend, this is a 3-day weekend in the United States. Woohoo! 3 days off in a row. Big deal for us U.S. citizens. We work too much, frankly, as far as I'm concerned. But it's interesting because it gives us reflection time. And it's funny that on Labor Day, the Sun will directly oppose Neptune. So on the day that we get off, the paid vacation day, the Sun opposes Neptune, and we come to this conclusion. And then what happens next week is the moon goes full in Pisces, which happens Tuesday night, if I'm correct. Yes, between Tuesday night and Wednesday morning. And when that moon goes full, our emotions around our faith will become very, very big. And if you're lacking faith, you might have tremendous fear come up in this full moon. And what this full moon will be the actual moment where you decide that you're going to choose a different reality, or you're going to stay on the same reality railroad track that you've been so far. And the new reality I think God Universe is offering is one with faith, one that lives in your heart, one where no matter what happens, you have that source and that quiet inside of you to go back to. So I think it's a profound week. And I myself have been through total test of faith this entire week. And someone pointed out to me, Chris, I think you're living the full moon a little early. And I want to thank that person for reminding me that I do go through transits early, because I really have been having this faith versus reality sort of feeling. And the Virgo energy has been so intense that I've literally had to cry every day this week. I've had to let out a cry in the morning to let out my physical Virgo fears and anxieties that have been residing in my body that I had not paid attention to. But I'm doing really well, by the way, because if you guys know me, normally I just stuff this stuff down and then end up in the hospital for 10 days where I'm on my knees praying anyways. So I'm making progress. I'm feeling good about my progress. I hope you are too. So that's our zodiac weather this weekend. Sensei says, go with your faith. Okay? Stick with your faith. Stick with what your gut tells you. Give it a try just one time. Just one time in your life. Say, my gut's telling me this. I'm going to go with this and risk being wrong, risk being the fool, but this is what I know feels right, and I'm going to go with this and see what happens, all right? Mercury goes direct on Tuesday, so as soon as we have this opposition with faith, boom, we're in Mercury direct, then we have a full moon, we release, and then it's like a locomotive train for the rest of September. I just recorded my Megascope monthly reports for my Serious Joy subscribers. They'll be out this weekend, guys, your Megascopes. And I talked through the whole month for each of the 12 signs. This is one of the features you get as a subscriber, by the way. Well worth the price, in my opinion. I used to charge $5 each for these things. So the point is find out this month, every sign, just like a railroad, just like a speeding locomotive, once you've switched tracks or decided to stay on the same one, I think life is going to move forward. So the good news is, this mucky water and humid spiritual energy is almost over. Sensei says probably around Wednesday, Thursday next week, things start to feel very different. And we are going through the twilight zone. So that said, perfect. I took up 10 minutes. That's just perfect. I'm happy there. I've got my notes. And we have some guests today. But first, some Friday Live shout out to some people. For one, a shout out particularly to Maria Valdez, who is in the Texas flood zone area. Ooh, my goodness. First of all, God bless to everyone in the Texas area. My son was there. I was texting him the whole time, making sure he was okay. Of course, he was like, yes, Dad, I'm fine. And Mother Nature is most certainly giving us many warnings that human beings are affecting the planet, and reminding us how vulnerable we are to weather and to Mother Earth. We have this idea that we're disconnected from Earth. She's a part of us. She's what gave us the cells in your skin came from Earth. That's where it came from, okay? Like borrowed matter from her. So we send our prayers and our support, and Maria Valdez, any of our members here in the Houston area, make yourself known in the Namaste Today Club. Oh, I should take off the zodiac weather sign. Make yourself known in the Namaste Today Club so that we can just send you our love and blessings individually. Pardon my little graphic snafu there. I am learning. It's not easy to direct the show and be on at the same time. I'm just telling you. Okay. Second shout out is to Elise Rosewood, who recently decided to stop putting crazy energy into finding love and instead invest in her inner goddess. And that is a huge step, my lady. I got so many baby boomer women who are looking for the perfect one. And I don't know what your age is, by the way. I'm just saying women who are looking for the perfect love. And I say to each of them, I'm like, mirror yourself, invest in yourself, and you will attract the one. You will. You've got to put that investment into your marriage. So good for you. I know I've been a bitch in my marriage this week. Actually, that's not true. I've been really sweet to myself, to be honest. It's just been hard to be married to me this week. It's real hard. Another shout out to Margaret Motherall. I mean, it sounds so good to be true. Mother to all. Seriously? That's really your name, Margaret? But she did her first live video stream this week. Woohoo! And I just want to say, y'all, if you read Conversations with God, Book 4, the main topic of the book is, I don't care what level you're on, it's time to go out and teach what you know. So congratulations, Margaret. Congratulations. We encourage everyone and their streams. Shout out to Mary Neva. I want to send special blessings to Mary Neva. You guys don't know this, but Mary is an angel of Soul Garden. She has worked and overseen some of my success for the longest time. She is a silent investor, if you will. And she herself and her battles has constantly been with her body, living in her body, being at peace with her body. And we've seen Mary through so many medical situations this year. And frankly, one miracle after another. You got to admit, Mary, it's been one miracle after another. But Mary is trying to put a close to this chapter in her life. So we ask for everyone's prayer and white light to Mary Neva, and a shout out to her too. She is a goddess of our group. And we want to give Andrea Lemon some shout outs for some strength. Seems like Andrea has been really having a hard time this last 40 days. Andrea, I'm totally with you. Yeah, I don't know why. I mean, for me, my life must be about, I mean, this is a witness. We'll call this reality TV. My life must be about to change in a huge way because I am being ripped out of the old way of being. It's not, and I'm a Taurus, so I go kicking and screaming, to be honest with you. I'm not an easy patient. I certainly whine a lot, but it has been absolutely intense and tough. There's no two ways about it. So I want to give a shout out to all the other club members who aren't mentioned here today. I want to thank you for posting your knowledge. When you post articles and information or card readings, all it does is help the collective. We're all learning from this. We're growing faster. And the cool thing is that I love about Namaste Today Club is that I trust all of you, your intentions. I trust your heart. I trust that you're out looking for truth. And the vibration I get when you post and you share is always wonderful. To me, it's the best magazine to read on the internet is namastetoday.club and all the cool stuff you share. So keep sharing your gifts. And keep sharing what you learn about, too. You don't have to be an expert. You can just tell us what you've learned so far. We appreciate that. So that is our Friday Live shout-outs. Let me do just a couple on screen. Hello, Kelly Jean. Hello, Deb Alexander. Hello, Dana Ross. Hello, Pamela Wilson. Hello, Donna. Hello, Joyce. We love Joyce. Hello, Roseanne. And we'll say hello, Valerie Marks, who was a guest not too recently. And we're going to now move on to our guests, actually. Let's see what we have here. I want to see who's in backstage. So it looks like, and if I'm not wrong, we're missing, we don't see our first one, David, here, right? Is that right, Troy? No David online in the back room? Doesn't look like it. So we will move on to our first guest will be Neha. Neha has been here before. This is her second appearance on Friday Live. She has worked as an applied behavior analysis therapist. Okay, that is a huge acronym, ABAT. Abbott. And she wants to help us with functions of behavior, mental health, and how that links to the Virgo consciousness. So without further ado, let me put in my headphones and bring in Neha.
Hi.
Hi there. Hi. Oops, we got to bring you on here. Let's try it this way. Hi.
Hello.
How's it going today?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing much better than I have been in this transition.
Oh.
Today, things are starting to float a little bit better than they were. How about you? How did you go? How are the eclipses for you? What's your astrology sign, Neha, by the way?
I'm a Leo with a Libra rising and a Scorpio moon. I have been feeling pretty good. I've had a lot come up, but it's like come up, release, come up, release, That's like kind of been how I've been.
Okay, so that's good, pretty comfortable. And you're a Leo, so I would, a lot of this energy really was focused directly on Leos.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not surprised. And tell us what an applied behavior analysis therapist is. That's a hell of an acronym.
We call it ABA therapy for short. So basically, I worked with special needs children in order to reduce problem behavior and teach them skills that they needed through the lens of behaviorism. Okay.
So basic coping skills, like?
No, it'd be like, so there are 4 functions of behavior, and I've kind of assigned each function to an element in astrology. I'm using my knowledge from ABA and like integrating it into my astrology practice.
Oh,
So the
cool.
way I've categorized it is attention is fire. Fire people, they're all attention whores. It's cool. I love and accept myself. And then escape would be air. It's like if something happens, what is your first instinct to run away? That's a very air sign thing to do. The third is tangible. So it's like gaining money, gaining a toy, gaining something like that. And that's associated with the earth element. Because for them, rewarding is something physical. And then the last one is automatic. So this is from within. And I associate this with water. If you ever meet a water person, they don't know why they're doing what they're doing. They're just doing it. And because this is a very inner calling for them.
So when you work with these children, you basically, they fall into this categorization as to the way the way they're used to adapting to their behavior and whatnot.
So what we would do is we would run a functional analysis or an FA, and we would observe their behavior. And then we would use the data from the FA to be like, okay, what are their dominant functions of their behavior? I obviously didn't use astrology at that time. But now how I do it is I feel like the current energy, especially with this Mercury retrograde, is about creating like a heart-centered lifestyle. And so because Virgo basically finishes up Leo, which is the ego. And so creating like a heart-centered lifestyle. And then that relates to Cancer, like looking at the quadrant, like we have our feelings, Cancer, then we listen to our heart, Leo, and then we make our choices every single day, Virgo. And so something that I apply to my clients is telling them that Virgo rules choices, it rules ritual, and it rules routine. And ritual for me is just routine with intention. So if you tap into Virgo's opposite, Pisces, you can get in touch with God, whatever God is to you, and then you can find your inner voice who's connected to God. And then you turn on your observer and you observe your behavior. And you can look at your chart like, for me, example, I'm dominantly fire and air. So I like attention and I like to escape from hard things. So for me, it's turning on my higher self and being like, okay, well, I can't run away right now. I have to release my judgment, which is Virgo's flaw, and make choices and make my behavior something that is heart-centered and that serves everyone.
So you basically, because you are Leo and you are, what was the other sign you were bringing
Libra
up?
and Scorpio.
Oh, then the Scorpio. So you're saying you're mostly attention based. You have some escapism, and there's some automatic stuff going on there.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Okay, you're moving fast, so I want to make sure everyone can understand this. And so for attention, so let's go through the redirect then. Mm-hmm. So the part of you that wants attention, how are you redirecting that Leo side of yourself?
So say like I'm at like a party and it's not my fucking birthday. Ugh. And
sounds like a Leo right there.
And then my inside's like, ooh, yes, like do something loud right now so you could get intention. And this would be subconscious. This isn't like my conscious mind being like, my conscious mind just wants to have a good time. My subconscious is like, yes, let's be loud. And so what could I do if I feel, it's important to turn on your inner observer without any judgment if you want to embody this practice, because first you got to feel it in your body. Like, oh, okay, I feel my stomach turning, and that's going to tell, or I feel my heart beating fast, right? You feel that, and you're like, then you start breathing and you go, and you just chill out for a second. And then from there you can say, all right, I want attention. Who could I talk to right now that would provide me that wouldn't be disruptive to the party? Something like that.
Okay. So the first thing you do is calm your own self down.
Mm-hmm.
Basically is what you're saying. Is like you calm yourself down because your attention desire is spiking through the roof. Mm-hmm. And then you go look for positive attention is what you're saying.
Yeah. So
okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now what about us tangibles?
A Taurus?
I mean tangibles like coffee or
For tangibles, it's so you guys have this like pro manifesting ability, so you guys can get your tangibles. It's like it's when that impatience comes in. It's to have things in your life that you are go-to, like, oh, my morning coffee, that's my go-to. I have to have it. I'm a Taurus. Or my pillow, I have this beautiful body pillow, because you need to find ways to satiate your needs so you don't have reckless sex or have, do or spend too much money on stuff you don't need. That is a Taurus or a Virgo, Capricorn thing, because they're very visceral. It's in the body.
So you're basically saying, so to manage the tangible, give in to the tangible, again, in healthy ways.
Yes.
So you've got to recognize that you're freaking out, you don't have your coffee, but you have to also realize that you need a sleep pillow because you're a baby and need the tangible.
Yeah.
Which is very true, I found, by the way. Pillows. I've been like all over my pillows lately. Well, let's go through all of them.
Taurus love something.
Oh yeah, I love comfy. Like I took my son out shopping for sheets for his first little apartment, and he wanted went Walmart and went like the cheapest sheets there are, and I was like, son, what Papa teach you right here? It's 300 thread count or more, honey. You know what I mean? Like just so you sleep good, but that's totally Taurus. Now, what about escapism? So what would be for a person who likes to escape, which actually is my son. Good.
Yeah, so Geminis, Libras, and Aquariuses, these people are very mental. They're very trying to think about everything until all of a sudden they start thinking about something they don't want to think about, and then they're like, bah, right? That's what they do. So what do they have to do there? If you get into a conversation that's hard for air signs, what do you have to do? You have to breathe through it. And instead of yelling like a crazy person, I have a Gemini Mars. I get it. It's knowing okay, how can I be calm and communicate what I really need to communicate? Or even if you need to escape, how can I communicate this to someone in a smart way? Oh, I think I need a break. Before we talk some more, I really need some alone time. Because air signs, even though they're so extroverted, they need to be alone, or else all the voices in their head go crazy, and then they need to separate their opinion, like my opinion versus others.
Yeah, that makes total sense. So once again, the therapy is they actually need to go escape, but escape in healthy ways, which is letting their mind be free and roam free somewhere safe, basically. Yeah. And then that leaves us to the automatics.
The water signs, so the Scorpios, the Cancers, and the Pisces. So you guys just do things and you don't know why the hell you do them. I always think Scorpios are the biggest self-sabotagers. Oh, air sign and water signs in general, but that's what I've seen in my personal experience. So what to do there is when you start reacting in a very in a way you don't like, when you start doing something I've seen a lot of Scorpio people having a hard time quitting smoking. It's because it's so automatic. It's because they need that release. They need that it's automatic. So for them, it's acknowledging that they have this inner desire, and then it's
automatic desire. Yeah. Yeah.
It's a little trickier, but I also think the automatic desire is really beautiful because it will tell you where your purpose is. So it's if someone's having trouble smoking, let's say, what could they do? They have to dig deeper. All the water signs have to dig a little bit deeper because it's internal. That's the hardest one, but I think it can also lead you to your inner power.
I think, and if I would add just knowing water signs, I think they have to replace it with positive automatic behavior. So I always tell my water sign smokers who's trying to quit, it's you need something that replaces your smoking. You're going to have to do something else for 7 minutes once an hour. You're going to have to do something else for 7 minutes once an hour and replace that part of you. But I think, what's interesting about the automatic and water signs, and you brought up something really fascinating and brilliant here, is that the emotions take us over. And the water signs are the emotional signs. And so, yeah, it absolutely feels automatic, And this is where we feel like we don't have any control, which kind of sucks. So, well, you've been very helpful here. I want to put up your website. Tell us what you do and how you help people personally, dear.
So I am a karmic astrologer. I like looking at the deep patterns that are embedded into your life. Like, why have you had the life that you've had? Everyone has shit and everyone has good stuff. So how can we take that shit and make it into more good stuff? Like really manifesting a life that is your dream. I'm launching my business actually in October, and I'm really, I want to really work with people who are spiritual entrepreneurs or spiritual people who are ready to embody their highest self. And I'm starting a podcast next week.
Yay! We'll share your podcast for us.
My podcast name is Zen AF. It's still, I'm finishing all the works as Mercury's still in retrograde. It's launching on September 7th.
Okay, awesome. We'll definitely share it in the club.
Will do.
Okay, well,
can I say one thing?
Yeah, you want to ask me something? Go ahead.
I rewatched this Leo King documentary where he interviewed you for 2012. And I think that's where I found you. And
wow. Yeah, I've heard a lot of people mention that.
Yeah. And I was listening to everything you were saying. You were like relating all the chakras and the numbers and the degrees and like everything. And I was like, this is what you offer us every single day on Serious Joy. And like, it's so inspiring to see like you've manifested this beautiful thing. And you were talking about it 5 years ago. And that's so awesome.
Well, thank you. Wow. I'm going to have to go back and watch that interview again myself, actually. Whenever anyone brings up that interview, I actually remember that I felt so whacked out that day.
Oh, really?
And I think David came to interview us like on the damn day, if I'm not mistaken. He came like the day after the Mayan shift. Like he didn't wait a week before anything. So my energy was freaked out that day. And I was just trying to but I also felt cosmically connected that day too with the weirdest thing. It's a fascinating day. You could tell fate took over that day. So thanks for bringing that up. It's my pleasure. And I'm honored. Yeah. Looking at where we've come, it's fascinating. And I'm even more fascinated about where we're going. All of us, now that we're all going and coming into our power, and we're all ready now to spread the light, including yourself. So any way we can be of assistance, my lady, please let us know. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Have a happy Mercury retrograde, and I'm sure we'll get to talk to you again when you have something to share.
Yeah. Namaste.
Right. Namaste, my dear. Yay. Thank you, Neha. Now we're going to jump around now, and we're going to do David O'Brien is now back on the air, or actually he wasn't even missing. It's just a matter of Mercury retrograde here. And David basically has worked in wellness for 13 years now. He's a certified master personal trainer, certified nutrition consultant, Reiki master, and life coach. I don't know how you fit it all in one business card, brother. But Uranus in the 6th. So that's what I'm like, out of all that, Uranus in the 6th is what made me excited. So let's introduce without further ado, David O'Brien. Hi, David. How are you? Oh, we're not hearing David. We're having sound issues. Are you there? Speak. Oh, I think you might have some microphone issues.
I think.
Oh, wait. Hold on. Maybe it's me. This is Mercury retrograde. Okay, David, give it a try again. Oh, we're not hearing him. Okay, so
Now.
Oh, he came in there for a second. Are you hearing him, Troy? Yeah, we're having a little issue with sound. So I'm going to invite you to talk to Troy behind the scenes and see if we can figure that out. And instead, we're going to switch to our next guest that we have in line. Try and help him out. It sounds like it could be, by the way it sounded, his sound was coming in and out. It almost sounds internet broadband. Like it almost sounds like it was a wireless thing. So now we're going to move on to another guest. He's no stranger to the club. His name is Christopher Adam Strickland, and he is a spiritual student and also a moderator here. in Namaste today and been working with us at Serious Joy for a long time. And Chris has been studying the archangels and who to go to in the archangel world as far as for healing and whatnot. So without further ado, let's bring up Mr. Christopher Strickland. Hi, Chris.
Hi.
Yeah, I can hear you perfectly. Okay, so unfortunately, Dave, that was Dave's issue. How you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing better. Yeah, I think you're a Leo. How did the eclipses go for you, Chris?
Oh, it was very, things just changed. I don't know how to explain it. It just kind of shifted my mindset. I quit smoking.
Huge.
I'm doing more yoga.
That's an automatic habit, by the way. Smoking.
What?
I was making a joke by your last guest. That's an automatic habit. And now you've begun yoga in exchange, okay?
Yeah, I just wanted to bring up real quick with your first guest. She works with children. Yeah. We're going to be talking about archangels today. So I would definitely recommend her to connect with Metatron to help her with these children.
With children,
so if she's still listening, yeah.
I'm sure she is. I'm sure she'll see it. So tell us, what got you on this aspect of angels? You've actually been pulling angel cards, I've noticed, in Namaste Today Club for since we opened. So you seem to have a personal affinity for them.
I love the archangels. I feel so close to certain ones of them, and lately I've been studying the other ones that I haven't really been connected to. But I think I got them all down pat really good. They all are really good with just bringing God, all aspects of God to you in every kind of way. All of them specialize, and some of them do the same things. They work together. Mm-hmm. So I got to take my headphones out because I can hear my feedback.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, but there's 15 archangels, and I originally picked out 5 go-to angels that I use. Okay. But that turned into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
9 go-tos.
But really, all archangels can help you with everything. I mean, whatever question you have, I can recommend which archangels to call upon, which crystals to use. We're in Virgo season, so there's one archangel that I want to point out the most in this live stream, and that's Raphael. He is the angel his name means God heals. He's the angel of God's healing. So if you have any type of physical illnesses, whatever, anything physical, use a malachite.
Malachite stone? Okay.
Yeah.
Huh. Okay.
That's a malachite.
And that's Raphael.
And this is Raphael.
Okay.
And he is the best at healing any kind of physical illnesses. And when you do your meditations with him, you need to have malachite with you. And it helps to connect better with him. And you meditate and you imagine green energy swirling around the parts of your body that where the illness is.
That's fascinating. My mother, growing up, always told me, my mom's a mystic and always has been, and she always made, when we were sick, like with the flu or something, she would make us sleep in green sheets under green covers because she thought green was a healing energy. Isn't that funny?
That is a great idea. I love your mother.
I do too. She's like super Cancer. But that's fascinating. Mom's always like, green's a healing color. You need to wear green. I'm like, Mom, I don't have any green in my body. I'm like, no green. I'm like, but we had green sheets.
And pink.
Oh yeah,
like pink. Rose.
Yeah, roses of the heart. So Raphael. So people with cancer, people with these heavy, pneumonia. This Raphael. So biologically, if your body's breaking down, that's who you want to go to.
Yes, Raphael is the most powerful healing angel. He works with Ariel too. Ariel's a healer, but she's more of an animal healer. but she also heals, people too. But she also specializes in helping healers. Like if you're a healer of any kind, she'll give you the courage to do your duties. She's the lioness of God. She's like the Leo of God.
Archangel Ariel. That's what
Ariel,
you're saying.
she's
Ariel.
a very strong angel. Lot of fiery energy, but she's a healer too, and she's an environmentalist.
Huh. That's very interesting. I would not doubt that. So Archangel Ariel is very important then. I'd say most of the people that watch my show are light walkers and light workers. Like they make money at it too. And they always ask me how to protect. So it sounds like if you're going to be a healer,
use a rose quartz for Ariel. I don't mean to interrupt you, but rose quartz for Ariel.
Okay. And she seems like the one that helps us, and she heals animals too. So you're saying when your cat or dog is having an issue, or your goldfish, Archangel Ariel is the one.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Who else? Bring up another.
Okay, let's go to the next healing angel. I'm just gonna
let's go through them real quickly.
Skip over the other ones I didn't really highlight. But next we have Gabriel. Gabriel's awesome, and he's like our Gemini archangel. He is good with Arthur's. God, I can't hear myself. He's good with creative writing, teachers, but he also works with Metatron and Mother Mary in raising children and fertility and birth. And Metatron helps more of the challenged children, and Gabriel helps all children.
Okay.
So if you're a parent and you have a newborn or a kid, call upon Gabriel to heighten their best potential. Gabriel's really good at that, and he works with Mother Mary. So,
okay. I've always known Gabriel as in message and people finding their voice and that sort of thing. I never knew he worked with children. I had no idea.
He's God's messenger too.
Right. Gabriel is who I call in when I don't feel I can pull off a live show. Gabriel, speak through me.
You know what's so funny? My cards have been scattered all over the place for the past week. I've been like lining them up, and I dropped a card last night when I got all my cards, and I woke up this morning and went on the back porch, and Gabriel was laying on the ground.
Oh, really? He's like, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was like, I get it. I need to communicate better.
Yeah. Well, yeah. You speak up, especially in the Mercury retrograde. Okay. And what's the next angel you want to tell us about?
Well, we've already talked about Raphael. Michael's always a go-to angel.
For healing, though?
Very compassionate. Yeah, he's very compassionate, despite what people may say about him being a little too,
warrior-like,
hard on you.
Yeah.
But he's...
Oops, just lost him there. Damn it! I think we've lost you there. Lost sound there. Are you hearing his sound, Troy? Yeah, looks like we're having an internet moment here, Chris Kirkland. But we lost sound there with you for a second. Mercury retrograde is such a pleasure. We'll see if we get sound here back. Are you good with are you there, Chris?
Can you hear me?
Yes, you're back. All right. Thank you for having patience, by the way. You were talking about Archangel Michael being compassionate.
He is very compassionate, and he inspires strength, courage, and balancing your ego. If your ego's just out of whack and acting up, he's really good at balancing it. Okay,
helping out with your ego. And I guess that's the problem with ego people is they probably wouldn't think to pray to an angel.
Well, Michael's the one you want to go to bring your ego down a little bit.
In check. Yeah, in check. That makes total sense. And what about Metatron? Metatron is my favorite angel, by the way, for people, anyone's curious.
Metatron? Okay, so here's what...
Oh, poop. Looks like we lost sound again. That's the picture of Metatron. Hold your phone steady, Chris. We've lost your sound again. Hello, but keep speaking so we know if you come back. Okay. Damn it. Yeah, we're not hearing him. We lost sound there. Not yet. Keep it up. Oh, we just got you back. You there?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. So,
okay.
Maybe we should pray to Gabriel to keep this fucking connection going.
Yes.
So tell us about Metatron.
Metatron works with crystal and indigo children.
Okay.
New age type of children, Down syndrome children, autistic. I can't hear myself. Autistic children. Yeah. I know there's a few people in the group that do have autistic children, so I definitely recommend praying to Metatron to help you kind of cope with their troubles, and he'll help you with that.
Yeah, I get the most positive results when I pray to Metatron, like immediate response. Like,
oh yeah, he's quick. You know, I've met him in a dream, and I've told you about this like a couple of years ago. And you remember what the situation was, but it was something was blocking me from moving forward. And I prayed to him. You actually introduced me to Metatron. I didn't know who he was. So I prayed to him. You told me to. And I was like, Metatron, what's blocking me from moving forward? And I had the most vivid dream of him floating over my bed in this 1940s get up. And he created this bubble in front of me, and it showed a picture of what was blocking me. He's like, there's your answer.
Wow. And shows up dressing in style, too. So
yes.
Do you have one final angel you could recommend before we say goodbye today?
Oh, I had a few. Oh, you know what? I was going to bring up Joe Field. I love my Joe Field, but this was a really important message that came through. Azrael, the angel of death.
Okay.
We need everybody in the whole collective. We need to realize we just moved past the solar eclipse, and we're grieving. A lot of us are grieving. Some of us are doing better than others, but I got a message through Spirit that Azrael is really who we need right now to comfort our losses of who we used to be.
Oh, fascinating. Azrael,
so I just wanted to point that out. Well, and one last thing I want to say, Wendy Harville, I know everyone in the group should know her by now. And I gave you a link to her services. She has the ability to actually bring down the light of the archangels to you. I don't know how she does this, but it's absolutely incredible and effective. I've had 2 sessions with her. They're not pricey at all. And the website's called thelightoftheangels.com, I believe.
Absolutely. And I have it up on the screen right now. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah. And thank you for sharing your angelic message. And thank you for sticking around in the little short outs there, Chris.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm appreciative.
And y'all know that Chris posts at least once a week card pullings that he pulls, and they've always been very accurate for me. It really picks up the energy. So if you want to reach out to Chris, you'll see him in Namaste Today Club. Have a great day,
every
Chris.
Monday.
Good job.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Bye.
All right. And I believe we have now a new and improved connection with Mr. David O'Brien. He is a certified nutritionist consultant, Reiki master practitioner, and Uranus in the sixth. Dave, let's see if we can bring you up on screen here. Can you hear me, Dave? Oh, I'm not hearing Dave.
Oh.
Now I hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Oh my God, hallelujah. I feel like you're healed, brother. You're healed.
Today has been the worst day ever, but it's good now.
Okay, I'm sorry it's been the worst day ever.
Technology-wise.
Well, Mercury is about to flip poles and the sun's opposing Neptune, so everyone should bring out pack some extra Duracells. That's all I'll say. You know what I mean? Exactly. So tell us about what you do, Dave. David, sorry.
Not really big on label, but I spent a lot of years studying in modalities that treat the physical body, mental body, emotional body, and spiritual body.
So you come at it all from all aspects at the same time.
It started when I was a young kid. I was very, very sensitive. I suffered a lot of trauma to the physical body, all of the bodies pretty much. So,
wow. So you started to self-study and find these different methodologies to bring things together and heal you?
Kind of in and out. When I'm speaking, I'm hearing myself.
Oh, are you getting an echo of yourself?
Yeah.
I think Chris was experiencing that too. I'm sorry about that.
Okay.
Do you want to try to come back in?
Should we try it one more time?
Yeah.
Let's go back in.
You want to try to come back in? Okay, no problem. We'll let you pop out. In the meantime, I will talk about angels for a second, and we'll give him a second to come back on here. Just go on out and come back in. Hopefully it'll work. We're having a lot of Mercury retrograde stuff, but I will share just for a moment. I mean, one of the reasons why I was interested in Christopher Adam and the angels is because with this sun opposing Neptune, okay, I have to say that it always has taken me to be in some sort of trouble. I've always had to be in some sort of trouble to get on my knees. I've learned recently to get more proactive, but it's my understanding that, when we pray to God, he or she basically hands it off to an angel to take care of. That's the way it works. So from what I understand, the angelic realm is keeping the human conscious experience alive. And each of the angels is actually holding together certain parts of the conscious experience. So when you pray directly to an angel, especially from your heart, that's one of the things I want to put out there, is that your heart must be the one asking, because that's what they speak is love. You will find results. And I encourage you in this next 3 or 4 days that if you need help, to ask for it and see what happens. Okay, so I see Dave back. We're going to try one more time here. Hopefully the universe is on our side. Pray to Gabriel to keep this connection going. Hi, David.
Hi, Chris, again.
Okay, yeah, I hear you. I'm almost afraid. I'm going to let you talk just so we can hear you.
Okay, so basically, you always ask to introduce with the astrology sign. So I have a sun in Aries, 20 degrees, moon in Scorpio, 16 degrees, and an 8-degree ascendant in Gemini. Still getting a little echoing.
Okay. Getting a little echoing. Can you pull out your, maybe you can pull out your ear when you talk and then put it back when I talk. How's that?
Okay.
How's that? Does that make sense? Yeah, I know that sounds awkward, but now we're like a CB radio. So go ahead. You were telling us about your astrology.
Yeah, and we talked briefly about, you said I had Uranus in the 6th house. It's in Sagittarius, Jupiter and Scorpio in the 6th house, Pluto and Libra in the 6th house, and then obviously I have Moon and Scorpio in the 6th house. But where did you want to go with this? I just kind of want to go with the flow and keep an open mind and maybe take some questions from the audience. We can cover the physical body, mental body, emotional body, spiritual body.
Okay, well, I'll say astrologically, first of all, just for people who are astro savvy and like it. Saturn, Uranus, the moon. I mean, you have come to become a master of physical manifestation and of the body. Uranus would be why there was a lot of breakdown. And because your moon is there, emotions heavily affect your health. So you're definitely a person who's here to teach. Tell us about, something that you faced and you overcame and what method you used.
Oh God, there's so much.
Pick anyone that comes to mind.
It's kind of one big blur, but I would say it started shortly after I started school, grade school. My nervous system was constantly being short circuit. I would be getting panic attacks, anxiety attacks because of the empathy. It's extreme. But from young up through playing sports, through time in the military, to getting out, through personal injuries, I mean, I had to be humbled quite a few times before I kind of woke up and said, I got to look beyond Western medicine. I gotta see what's beyond the physical body, because the things that I was experiencing, Western medicine couldn't explain, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. And what was something that you were experiencing that, in particular, that was out of the norm?
Well, the first thing that came to my mind, it was I was 12 years old, and it was right around the time that my parents decided to split up. And I was very happy-go-lucky, healthy, physical body, very athletic, always played sports. And at that time, with my parents' divorce, I ended up manifesting an L4 disc bulge with fluid loss, L4, L5 disc bulge, and which put pressure on the sciatic nerve. I had a twisted pelvis syndrome, sacroiliac joint dysfunction. So wow. I was laid up for quite a few years, like a lot of my teen years. I was in pain, a lot of tears, a lot of being on my knees. And I mean, when I talk about extreme suffering, it's probably an understatement.
Poor guy. And what was one of the first alternative things that brought you some comfort?
It's hard to kind of say what age it was. I would say about 13. I was 13 years old. My mother introduced me to this monk, and I got attuned to Reiki 1 and 2.
Ah.
And I would say that's probably what my first experience beyond the physical body.
Wow, fascinating. And so did you find that being a Reiki practitioner for others healed yourself at the same time, or did you work strictly on yourself?
I worked on myself in the beginning. I didn't become a Reiki master practitioner till 19. So in the beginning, it was purely on myself. But even then, it took many, many years. It wasn't until I would probably say the past 5 to 7 years that I really got a grasp on what was going on.
Wow, fascinating. May I ask you what your age is now? I'm just curious.
I'm 35.
35. Okay, so yeah, you're doing great. I mean, 19 Reiki master. Come on, dude. That's awesome.
Yeah, I've tried everything through the years. I've tried like with personal training and all these that gave me a good foundation, but it wasn't enough. So I had to kind of be a pioneer in a sense.
Yeah.
And figure out on myself what works and what doesn't work. And then through the years, based on the feedback of my clientele and what they were experiencing, to validate what I was coming up with, something new and creative and innovative.
So tell us about your business and what you do for people. I want to put your link up on the screen. How do you help others?
Well, my business is Interconnected Wellness. I address the physical body, the mental body, the emotional body, the spiritual body. I put a couple notes that I felt like I wanted to share, and based upon last week's show.
Sure.
I know a lot of people were talking about they're having headaches and there's inflammation going on, there's pain. I want to address that 80% of health conditions are due to chronic inflammation within the body in today's society.
80%.
Maybe a little over 80%.
And how do you fight inflammation then?
I take a very good magnesium supplement, and I wanted to touch on that not all magnesium supplements are created equally. Okay. A lot of the stuff that's on the market right now, you got to take triple to quadruple the dose to even get about 40% of what we actually need. And by the time we get that dosage amount, it's coming in the form of loose stools or diarrhea, because that's our body's fail-safe mechanism.
So magnesium is in your opinion, a good way to fight inflammation.
That's one of the ways. Second way is earthing. I sleep grounded every night. Deep breathing exercises.
Okay.
With body movements, contrast showers are really good.
Mm-hmm.
Basically starting her off or as hot as you can tolerate it, and go to cold as you can tolerate for 1 minute, and you'll go back and you'll cycle about. And what that does is strengthens the autonomic nervous system. It boosts the immune system. It takes away inflammation. And this is scientifically validated. But the ancients have been doing it for centuries.
It sounds like inflammation is almost like your body freaking out.
With all this EMF. We got EMF. We have the current standard medicine diet, which is very, there's a lot of in our environment, contributing to the overall that we're experiencing.
Yeah, well, that makes total sense. And yeah, inflammation is causing a lot of illness from what I understand. And what was the other point that you want to share with us?
I wanted to put a little bit of the supplementation, how a lot of the vitamins and the minerals are far beyond what we. And I'll give you a little bit of an example. You'll see a lot of people are vitamin D deficient. It's because they don't have enough magnesium. And the problem with the Western medicine diet is the calcium so much. So if calcium levels are high, magnesium, and without proper amounts of magnesium, our body cannot absorb vitamin D. So it's with the vitamins and minerals that we should be ingesting. The supplementation that's going on today, everything's extreme, harming.
We're over supplementing.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And from what I heard you say, we're ingesting too much calcium.
Yeah, the American has an overabundance of calcium. That's why, to the root, why we're seeing a lot of vitamin D deficiency and chronic, and because the calcium depletes the magnesium, and without proper amounts of magnesium, our body can't absorb.
Wow, very interesting. Tell me, this is very interesting. We have to come on and talk to you about this in a longer segment, actually, when Mercury is
there's a better connection, because I'm still here on the.
Yeah, well, when Mercury's direct. But before I let you go, David, tell me the type of client that you tend to take on and tend to help.
On clients of all, I've experienced with young kids to senior citizens to special populations, people who have special needs, diabetes, hyperlipidemia, hypertension, mental disorders, pretty much experienced with a lot of various backgrounds.
Mm-hmm. And do you work one-on-one, or do you work over the internet on camera? Can people hire you long distance?
I just transitioned probably about 3 weeks ago. It's brand new, but prior to work one-on-one with people.
Yeah, but do you do it locally, or do you do it over Skype and telecommuting?
I'm going to start telecommunicating. I offer person. I'm expanding.
Okay, excellent. Well, this is the time. There's plenty of customers out there, my friend, like lots of people hurting. I want to thank you for coming on and thank you for tolerating the technology glitch. And I'd like to invite you to come back again sometime and let's talk more about some of these deficiencies. You brought up some interesting topics here.
Yeah, I'd like to. I just, with all the distraction, it was a little hard to.
Hey, as far as I'm concerned, we won here. We got your message out, your name, and your URL. So we'll be seeing you around, David. Thank you. Have a good weekend, friend.
Thanks, Chris. You as well.
God bless. Whew. Well, as you can see, we have been doing our best with the technology stuff, ins and outs. One of the things about us Lightwalkers is we tend to live in remote areas, which if you watch yesterday's show with EMFs is a good thing. But trying to get us live streamed together on one show on a Friday, not so easy, right? Like not so easy. So I want to thank everyone for their patience and those who comment and stay tuned with us despite all of the difficulties that we have. Let's just see if we have any. I'm just going to say hi to a couple of people before I say Kellyanne. There's Kim. Kim was on our show. She has her own practice that she did. Deb Alexander, so good to see you here. These people, thank you for coming live. We appreciate it. Karen King. There's Elise. We did a shout out to her earlier. Yay. And I'll say hi to Karen King. And one more here, Deborah. All right. Well, friends, it's a pleasure to be of soul service. You know, the universe is definitely hitting us intensely right now. I'm going to check my magnesium in my diet. No. And I'm also going to pray to the angels. I encourage you between now and when I see you live again. The thing about the live show is I'm unedited. You're seeing me as my whole self. Sometimes I don't feel it at all, but I show up anyways because I feel it's important to have authentic connection here. I also think it's important that we come together and stop isolating ourselves. Just a little love and appreciation for one another is going to help us get to this period. But we will not have a Friday Live 1 week from now because I will be traveling to visit my family in Colorado. But I will be back the following week. And in that following week, we will be doing one last episode focusing on health and wellness. But don't let that hold you back. We would love to have show and tell with all of our members. You don't have to be an expert at what you show and tell. You can be a student. You can teach us what you've learned so far. I feel like we grow faster as a community and we raise questions we wouldn't have raised without each other. So I appreciate this tribe, this Namaste Today tribe. I appreciate my Serious Joy tribe. And I will put in a plug for my personal Sensei service. I've worked incredibly hard and sacrificed a lot to build this service that can customize to your needs and basically inspire you and send you messages when you need to hear it. And it's a service that's well worth the money. It's only $5 a week, basically, for me to be with you 7 days, 24 hours a day. So if you're not a member, the greatest gift you can give me is by subscribing and giving it a try. Come to SeriousJoy.com. Well, friends, have a good week out there. Try not to get too disillusioned by the sun opposing Neptune. Things may not be what they seem. Okay, they may not be what they seem. The only way you know is you ask right here. You ask your own soul and God universe if it's true. And whatever that answer is, go with it right now. In some ways, I think we are being tested. In some ways, I think the people who listen to the rhetoric will be led down certain paths, and the people who listen to their hearts will be led down another. So the time is very important about not what's going on outside here, but what's going on inside here and what you're listening to. All right? Remember when you're out there that I love you and to live, love, be. And we end broadcast, and we affirm